Welcome to the Practisim Designer Stage Design Tools tutorial series. This will be a multi-part video series that will walk you through how to use this tool and very quickly build your stage, test it, and print it out. My name is Lok and I'm the creator of this tool. First off, I'd like to thank you for downloading the tool, and if you are a Patreon subscriber, my deepest thanks to you for supporting the project and supporting my endeavors. I appreciate all of you. When you first start Practisim Designer, on the left you see what's new, and you can see things that have been updated, new features that have been added, bugs that have been squashed and fixed. All of this will appear on your left panel. On the right side, you have the option to log in to Practisim Designer. It's great for you to create an account and log into Practisim Designer because that gives you access to the Stage Central tool where you can download stages that other people have created and shared. You can easily create an account by typing in your email address in this field and entering a password in this field below. Please remember the password requires more than 8 characters. So let me just show you how to do that here. Once you do that, you click on create an account and an email verification will be sent. So go ahead and check your email, click on the link to accept, and then come back here. Please bear in mind, if you don't see the email in your inbox, please check your junk mail folder. Once you have clicked the link, it will show that your email has been verified, and then you come back to this tool and click login. As you can see, now I'm logged in. If you look at the bottom right, you see that I'm logged in using my email address. Congratulations and thank you for signing up for an account. So next, let's take a look at the interface. By default, you see the right hand panel. These are all the keys that are required to work the editor function. I'll go through this in more detail, but I just want to introduce to you the interface. The bottom row is where you see what you've highlighted, what you've selected, and the distance between you and whatever you're pointing at, and your login ID, and other associated miscellaneous notifications and information. The middle row of 10 boxes are essentially your shortcut bar, where you can put the most frequently used props you use when you're designing a stage onto that shortcut bar, and I'll show you how to use it in a bit. You see your gun, you have an option to hide your gun by just clicking H. So if you don't want to see it, you can just hide it. On your extreme left hand side, the bottom is an indicator of your current mode. We have 2 different modes, a flying mode and a walking mode. I'll explain to you how that works in a bit. And the top left is basically showing the type of mode you're in right now and how to switch between modes. So you can go from editing to activation to grouping, measuring, fault lines, dry fire, and simulation. I'll go through each of these in its own separate video. So let's get started. How do you move around? So if you look at the top right hand side menu, the first option is the main menu. So if you ever want to quit the tool or you want to go to certain other features, you can hit escape. So when you hit escape, this is your main menu. Here you can load, you can save, you can export the stage, you can manage your cameras, you can change the bay design, you can also change the weather and the sky for different colors for indoors and outdoors and so forth. And you can also create your written stage briefing here and print it out as a PDF. Again, there'll be a separate video. You can clear the stage. You can also access Stage Central to share your stage files. You can also download other stages that are created by the community. Here you can manage your account, and here are a bunch of settings, and you can provide feedback, and here's where you quit the designer. So if you want to get out of the menu, all you have to do is just hit escape again. The next step is movement. Let me show you what to do. The typical movement methodology of this tool is taken from first-person games. So if you know how to play first-person games, you will know how to use this tool very, very quickly. So essentially, in order to move around, you use the WASD keys. W for forward, S for back, A to strafe left, and D to strafe right. Right? So WASD like this. And you use your mouse to point to where you want to go. So for instance, if I want to move to the right, I just point to the right and hit W, S, strafe like this. So you can very quickly move around like that. And the default movement mode, if you look at the bottom left, the icon shows that you're in flying mode, so that you can very easily hit space to fly up, go back, go forward, point wherever you want. And if you want to come down, you hold Alt. Right? That's very simple. If you switch to walking mode, and if you look at a menu, switching to walking mode is page down. If you hit page down, then you're basically walking on the ground, and if you hit space, you'll be jumping. You can also crouch, or you can go prone when you're in walking mode. But what we've found is for editing stages, the most convenient is the flying mode, and that's why it's in default. So let me hit page up to go back to flying mode. Okay, let's get to editing, where then I'll guide you through how to use this tool. And so the first thing you want to know is to access the props. Where are all these props, and how I can lay down my fault lines, my walls, my targets, and so on. So to access the prop menu, you have two options. If you look at the top right, the default is a tilde key. The tilde key is the key right next to your number one key in the keyboard. Most keyboards are like this. If you have a different language keyboard, you might have an issue to find this tilde key. Then the alternate is to hit the enter key. So if you hit the enter key or the tilde, you see that now you have access to the prop menu. By default, the category is all. You can see we have over 700 different props here that you can use. You can highlight them to see the prop preview on the left, and then a large version of it. So you can scroll down, or you can select by category. All I want to see is USPSA targets, and just select your USPSA targets, and these are all the available USPSA targets for you. If you want to see IPSC, these are all the categories. You can also see vision barriers, they're things like walls and barrels, and then the stage markers are things like stuff that you put on the floor, like fault lines, cones, and some action waypoints, which is a more powerful feature of the tool, which I'll talk about in the next video. Optionally, you could also search for it. So let's say if I want to see all the swingers available in the system, I'll just type swing, and you see all SWIN, and it does a contextual search to show you all the available swingers. If you want plates, you can type PLAT, and you see all the different types of plates or plates. So there goes the platform, right? And so what you can do here is, if I want to, let's say, go back to USPSA, let's say I want to drop a typical USPSA target on the ground. All I have to do is click on this, and now you see the target is on the ground, it's highlighted, you can see the yellow outline, and now when you move your mouse, it will follow where you look based on the red crosshair, right? You can move around with it, you can position it where you want, and in order to place it on the ground, you just hit the left mouse button. Like that. So now that it's on the ground, you can do that again, go back to prop menu and pick another one. Let's say I pick the no shoot, and I can move around and I place it right next to it, for instance. If you think that you made a mistake and you want to move the target somewhere else, all you have to do is highlight it, make sure that you see the yellow highlight, click and hold your left mouse button, as you can see from the top menu on the right, and then move it around. Move it to a new position. Let's say I move it over here, and then let go of your mouse button. That is how you move your props around. One of the more powerful features of this tool is the shortcut bar. The shortcut bar at the bottom. How do you put stuff in the shortcut bar? Very simple. Go back to your prop menu, and you drag the props that you want onto the shortcut bar. So let's say I use this props all the time. So let me just preload some of the more commonly used props that I use all the time when designing stages. You guys know how to do this, right? These are your typical, let's say I want a 10 foot, I want an 8 feet fault line, I want a 4 feet fault line, maybe I want an axis here, and maybe a hand position. Just drag it down here, and then when you exit, you have that available. So if I want to drop a wall, for instance, I want to drop wall, all I have to hit is number 3 on the keyboard, and the wall will appear, and you can drag around and place it wherever you want. Just like that. If I want to drop the double barrel stack, I can just drop it down like that and move it around. And if you want to look at this from higher up, you can just fly up. You hit space and fly up, and you move around, and you can actually see the position of the props, and you can align them. You can also edit and move stuff around while they're up here. Okay. Now, what are the other additional controls that you can do? So if you look at the bottom right diagram, it shows you that you can manipulate a prop by using keys. You can rotate them, you can pivot, you can pitch, and you can raise height or lower the height by using all those keys. So how does that look like? So let's say I bring in the target, right? hit 1 to bring the target in. Now when you look at this target, if I want to rotate this target, all I have to do is just hit the Q and E key. So I point at this and I hit Q. Every time I hit Q, it will rotate it by 2 degrees. And if I hit E, it'll rotate this way. You can speed up the process by holding down the shift button or the shift key and hitting the Q or E, and you can see now it rotates much quicker, right? So same goes for if you want to tilt it left and right, which are the Z and X keys. So Z key and the X keys tilt. You can also pitch by using the R and F keys. So you pitch it back or pitch it forward. And you can raise the height by using the T and the G key. So very simple. Like if you want to lower this and you want to make it a short target, you hit Shift G and you bring it down. So very quickly you can start positioning this and editing your stage this way. Another really cool quality of life feature that I built into the tool is, let's say for instance, if you want to rotate this target to face you. So instead of manually hitting Q all the time to rotate it, you can just click on this and then hold Control. When you hold down Control and while you're moving around, you see that the target will always face you. Right? I think this is a handy feature. So let's say if I want it to face me while I'm here, I'll just put it there and I'll let go of the button and now it stays there, just like that. So that's some of the handy things. Another cool feature is multi-select. Let's say if you want to select a bunch of objects and move them at the same time, you can just hit Shift and then point at the object that you want. As you can see, it's highlighted by this yellow outline. Point in the next object that you want and point to whatever objects you want to put in the selection. And you let go Shift and all you have to do is just select any of these objects, click, and the whole group will move with you. Like that. You can, while it's in this state, you can still rotate it. You can also raise it up, lower it, and do whatever you want, as you can do to any one of your props. So I can move that here, and once I'm done, to unselect, all I have to do is just hit Shift and click on the ground. That's it. The other thing is, how do I, let's say for instance, if I picked a prop, let's say a barrel, and I made a mistake, I don't want this barrel anymore. Whilst in this selection state, all you do is just hit right click to cancel. Right click will cancel most things in this tool. The other thing is, what if I already have this prop that I really don't want? I can't right click anymore. So all you have to do is just select it and then hit the delete key on your keyboard and it will go away. So what else can you do in editing mode? You can also lock a prop. So for instance, if I know that these props are in the right place and I don't want to accidentally click on this and move this around, I can hit right click to bring it back. But let's say if I want to lock the prop, all I have to do is just highlight it and hit L on the keyboard, highlight it and hit L on the keyboard, and now I won't be able to select these props at all. And you realize that there is this yellow menu that appears every time I highlight a certain prop, and these are the additional things that you can do to this target. So for instance, when I highlight a target, it says I to change the text. So as you can see, there's a floating T1 here. This tool will automatically calculate for you as you drop props down here. Right now I have it turned off, so if you want to automatically calculate, you can just hit N. You hit N on the keyboard and you say, do you want to auto determine the target numbers? If you say yes, then it will automatically count for you. You can also set this by default. The default is off, but if you want the system to automatically calculate for you, you can hit escape and go over to settings, and in the settings say auto target number. Just enable this and hit done. So now every time I drop a target, it will automatically increment and position the T1s to T5 to T6, T7 if I put one over here. And the way that the algorithm works is it goes from left to right. And so if I drop one target here, which is the most extreme left one, this one will be T1 and everything else will increment by the number of targets. But let's say if I don't want this automatic numbering, I want to name this something different. I don't want to call it T7, maybe I just want to call it target 7 or something. And if you hit I, you can change the text to anything you want. And you do that and you will just stay that way, right? This is for some people who want to call their target certain things, or maybe call out that this is a special target that you have to engage from a certain box. You can call it something else. The other thing, from a movement sake, if you want to move around quickly, instead of traveling over to this end of the bay, if you have a big bay, I can teleport. If you hit J on the keyboard, it brings up a teleport marker, and if you just click here, it will teleport you to that position. So that way you can very quickly move around the bay, especially if your stage design is very large and wide. The next thing is a very handy feature. If let's say you're designing and you decide, I don't think USPSA targets are interesting, I prefer the IPSC metric target. So very simple, there's a handy feature. If you look at the menu on the right, switch target type and you hit B. So if you hit B, it says, are you sure you want to switch your targets to a different type? If you hit yes, then all of the USPSA targets will then switch to IPSC. Or you can hit B to switch it back. Also fault lines, very cool. So if you can drop fault lines, let's say I can drop a fault line like this over here. If I want to make it larger, you can, as you can see, I have two options: arrows to change the size, so I can hit the right arrow key to extend it, or hit shift right arrow to make it quicker, or K to change the color. So for most color changing, we have a color picker that allows you to quickly change the color, or if you prefer to manipulate the color controls by manipulating the red channel, the green channel yourself, or you can also type in the hexadecimal number if you know that already, or you can very easily click on this color picker button. So let's say if I want to make the fault lines pink, I can just click on pink, or I can tune to a special color that I want. Let's say if I pick this neon green color here, no, let's say a lighter green, and if I want to save this, I can just easily drag this onto one of these boxes. So if I drop it here, this becomes that color, so that in the future I can use this again and again and again. So let's say I want to make it pink, I click OK, so now the fault line is pink. And another handy feature is cloning. Let's say if you already had this fault line that's pink in color, you don't want to go in and drop another fault line and have to change the color. I can very easily clone this, and to clone it you hit middle click. So you highlight it and you use your middle mouse button, and now you clone that object which inherits the exact same properties as the original object. And you can do this for almost everything, and including groups. So for instance, if I want to clone the double stack barrels, just point at it and hit middle mouse button, and now I clone the double stack. If I want to clone this, and as you can see, it maintains the rotational properties as well of that target very quickly and easily. So let's say I clone this, I put the snow chute in front of here. I know this is a terrible stage design, but I'm just trying to show you very quickly how to use this capability. And one of the latest, most powerful features that I've designed is the ability to flip the stage. So let's say if I design a stage that looks like this, and I'm thinking, oh, let me just clone this and let's rotate this a little bit here, something like that. I know, okay, so let me just place this fault lines here, and I don't want this one anymore, and I'm gonna select both these fault lines, and then I'm just gonna clone this and like that, right? And then I can drop another fault line here, rotate it around like that, and then make it pink, and then clone this and move this over to the other side. Okay, and so very quickly I can create a box. And one of the most powerful features I was alluding to is the ability to flip the stage around. In order to flip the stage around, you hit the P key, and so what it does, it finds the middle point of your entire stage and it flips the target correctly. So if I hit P, as you can see, now I've basically essentially flipped the stage around. So if I go up here, you can take a look, my original design, now I flipped it left to right. So I think this is really powerful. Sometimes when you're designing a stage, you figure out, I think it's better if I just flip the whole stage. And I've heard this multiple times from the beta users that were using this tool early in the process. On top of that, you can select multiple objects and then just flip them. So let's say I want to select all of this on the right side. So I just hit shift and I just highlight. As you can see, it's all highlighted yellow. And once it's highlighted, right, and I hit P to flip, I only flip that section of it. So to unselect, you just hit shift click on the ground. So let's say if I want to highlight the ones here on the left, hold shift, just highlight everything here, and like that. Then hit P, you just flip this props here on the left. Again, to unselect, just shift click on the ground. So that's it. So by default, if you hit P, you flip the whole stage. If you want to flip only a specific section, just highlight those targets that you want and you'll flip it. So that covers the bulk of the editing capabilities. Let's move on to the next video to talk about activation or activating targets.